If you're a cloud champion or leader in an accounting practice and your cloud adoption is stalling, here's a quick model that could help you figure out where the problem might lie. Eckhard and Harris's change formula looks at the personal motivation for change in individuals, and it's a great way to sense check whether you've created the conditions where people are motivated to change. It's loosely expressed as a mathematical formula, meaning that the dissatisfaction with the status quo multiplied by the desire for the stated endpoint multiplied by the credibility of the plan must be greater than the perceived personal cost of change in the mind of the person that's affected in order for change to happen. So let's get into the elements. Dissatisfaction with the status quo. Do your team really believe that things cannot continue the way they are? Do they understand the consequences of inaction and how that will impact them personally? Without a burning platform, there's little motivation to change anything, even if it is for the better. Next, the desire for a new end state. Do you have an end vision of what you're trying to achieve? Can you articulate the benefits to the organisation, but also, most crucially, the benefits to the affected individuals? Have you communicated this vision to them, and do they understand it and buy into it? Could your team, for example, repeat it back if you weren't around in the room? Do they care why you're trying to get to this point? This is much more effective if the people involved have actually been consulted or even have been part of creating this end vision, but we'll get more into that on a future video. Next, a credible plan to get there. So have you got a plan for how you're going to get from where you are now to where you want to be? Does it make sense to you and the people that are going to have to implement it? Do they know what the plan is and what to expect and when, and what's needed from them as individuals? Are you mitigating risks for people's performance during the disruption, for example? There's no point in continuing to assess people's performance based on old criteria when they've now got a new environment and also having to juggle the balance of change as well. Finally, personal costs. And the personal cost is whatever that individual perceives the cost of the change will be to them personally. And the cost can take many forms. It's not just money, it could also be time, effort, stress, etc. So ultimately, the question that we're asking is this change worth it to me? And it's incredibly important that you've got the answer stacked up properly to make sure that the answer is yes. Otherwise, you'll find that you'll get stuck and the change won't move forwards. Now, of course, different people have different levels of interest and different levels of impact on the project, but we'll look at how we manage stakeholders in more detail in another video. Remember that this works like a maths formula, so any zeros on this equation bring the whole thing down to zero, and therefore they can't outweigh even the smallest personal cost. Now, this isn't a comprehensive change plan and it won't expose all of the issues you might face, but it's a very handy diagnostic tool to help you step back and uncover a couple of the common pitfalls that tend to plague these sorts of change projects. If you found this short video useful, please give it a like, share it with anybody you think it will be helpful to. Feel free to drop any questions below in the comments, and for more on this topic, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Cheers.